Hello, Richard. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jim.
It is great to have you here. I would like to thank Jordan Adler for connecting us so you could be on Jordan's podcast, Beach Money.
Yeah, it's a great honor. Jordan is a great friend and an inspiration. We've had a lot of fun together, and he's inspired a lot of people around the planet.
He has. You guys met decades ago. Why don't you tell us the first meeting you had with him? Because I believe when you first met him, you didn't necessarily become lifelong friends then, but afterward you have.
Yeah, I know I met Jordan at an event in Phoenix, Scottsdale, maybe early '90s, mid '90s. He was an up and coming distributor in the company that he was ultimately very successful in. And if you know Jordan's story, I think it was his 13th company because none of the other ones worked. But this one was destined to work. Actually, he was destined to work in this one. And I was co-leading a mastermind event, a generic collaborative 3-day event for our industry. And he was one of the participants. But I didn't really connect with Jordan until he wrote Beach Money, and I read the book, and I just fell in love with his story and his writing style and his way of looking at the world and sharing his viewpoints. And then because he became very successful in that company, but that company ultimately failed, and then he became very successful in his current company, Send Out Cards, and wrote the book Beach Money. And so he and I started speaking on the same stages. That's when we became friends. But it was his book Beach Money that really drew me to him.
Network marketing is the common thread between you and Jordan. That's how you met in an industry that a lot of people don't know a lot about. And I love talking about network marketing because I think it's the ultimate in being able to serve others and still kind of selling one-on-one, face-to-face. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's old school in that sense. I remember that book by John Nesbitt a long time ago, High Touch, High Tech, High Touch.
Mm-hmm.
25 years ago, he was a futurist, and he was looking at the future of, hey, technology is going to take over our world, and there's nothing going to be more important in the future than high touch because we're going to be dominated by technology. And I love network marketing for, yes, we take advantage of all the technologies, but we are grounded in high touch because this is a person to person. This is word of mouth marketing, which is still the most trusted form of marketing, where one person that is known. We're not cold marketers. We don't market to people we don't know. Some people do, but that doesn't work very well. But our model is, I know you, you know me. I have a story to tell about a product, and you trust me or you don't, but you probably trust me because you know me. And so you trust the story, and then you therefore might try the product. That's how we market. And from that, you can, and because we also have this very unique mathematical technology in our model, which says that every customer can recruit other customers from day one.
Mm.
So if I enroll you as a customer and you love the product, well, you can actually enroll customers 5 minutes later, 5 days later, and they can enroll customers, and those customers can enroll customers. Kind of hard to get your head around. But what that ushers into our model is exponential growth of the customer base. And so it's very high touch with exponential growth. So we have the opportunity to impact thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And Jordan has done that. I have done that. Many people have done that in this profession because of what they've built in their customer base. And you have an opportunity to impact people all over the world, people you've never met, change their life.
Absolutely. And it's within the products and services you can change someone's life. It could be anything from a product that makes you healthier, or we send out cards, gratitude, touching people. And then beyond that, like you were saying, Richard, the business opportunity, which isn't for everybody. So in network marketing, some people may just buy the product, and other people might be really more interested in the business side of it.
Yeah, most people are just customers. At least 95% are just customers. And even the 5% that are business builders, there's only 1% of those that do anything. But for those that do something with the income option, you have the power of compounding, which Einstein claimed as the eighth wonder of the world. And, Warren Buffett and everybody else, you're either making money while you're sleeping or you're making somebody else money. And it allows us to gather not 10 customers, not 100 customers, but through the exponential component, we can have tens of thousands of customers contributing to our income. That's the income option. Product does change people's lives. The interesting thing about our product model is because advertising doesn't drive sales, only personal, authentic stories drive sales.
Yeah.
The products actually have to work. They have to have a physiological or emotional impact on the user. In the case of like send out cards, I've always claimed that is the most perfect product for any network marketing company, because I ask people, how does it feel in your body when you send a card?
Mm-hmm.
Instantly, your body chemistry changes. You feel awesome. When you press send, when you write that message and press send, you feel awesome.
And what's nice about that, Richard, is you, the sender, feel great, and the recipient will feel great. So you feel the gratitude of giving, and it's positive, and you're getting all these chemicals rushing through your brain, and it's a high. And then when someone gets it, especially a unique card, maybe it's a picture of the recipient or their dog or their house or their new car, whatever it is, and they may not forget that. They may put that card up on their credenza or their kitchen countertop for months or years, and it's a special thing. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think it's one of the best network marketing products I've ever seen in my life.
And on the other, where the product kind of products, which are mostly nutritional, nutraceuticals, weight loss, those kind of products, they have to work and they have to have a good value proposition, or the customers are not going to recommend them to people, because our model is not transactional. I tell my students all the time, this isn't where you can drive a BMW onto the back lot of a Mercedes dealer and walk out front and sell Mercedes. You can't do that here. You either drive Mercedes and sell Mercedes because you love them, or you don't. There's no people in network marketing that are selling stuff they don't like.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work, because that trust is then not communicated in the story. The story is either authentic or it's not. If it's not authentic, it doesn't work. People don't trust you. And so the products in network marketing actually have to be better than products you buy from an advertised source, like in a store or online, because those products are sold by lots and glitz and glamour and claims and graphics and video, and that's marketing. And those products don't have to work as well as ours. So network marketing has always been at the forefront of pioneering a lot of new product development, products that end up 10 years later in traditional platforms, because we're pioneers. We have to create extraordinary products.
Yeah. Not available in stores, and it's true, right? It's not. And they're often great products, like you said, Richard. And it's just a different way of providing goods and services and consuming them. I think a lot of people are a little skeptical, though, but the ones that aren't are the ones that are like, you don't get it. I'm buying the best product, and it's kind of like an underground thing. It's not illegal. It's just not where everyone else is going, like Walmart and Target or Amazon. I'm getting this in a special place, and I know the ingredients are better. And maybe I've been to the manufacturing facility, because that happens sometimes, right? Because if you're part of the organization, you can get in pretty deep. And you really begin to have conviction for this, and you believe in it. Almost becomes kind of a religion to an extent, where you're in it and everyone gets in a group and everyone's strong. I've been to these meetings, right? Everyone's together on it. And if they're not, they tend to fade away. The diehard ones are there, and the ones that really are working hard to build a business can really do well. Like Jordan has done very well. I've met lots of people in many different businesses who have done very well. But I will say this: it's relatively simple, but it's not necessarily easy to build a large organization. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally simple. It's as simple as this. And Jordan is, like, we always talk about Jordan as he's one of the very few people that makes huge money, but every day he still does every day what he did every day to create that huge money. People that make that kind of money today in network marketing are usually sitting around telling other people what they should do. Jordan's still doing it. And the simple thing is, all you have to do is ask people to listen to your story, or look at your product, or look at your service, or in Jordan's case, he just, sends out cards every day. It might take you 5 minutes, might take you 10 minutes. That's all it takes. Just ask people to look, ask people to listen. Most are going to say no. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to. If most said yes,
it wouldn't be special.
Most people on the planet would have joined your company 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Most people are supposed to say no. The opportunity for wealth comes from us moving through the no's, looking for the yeses. That's what the company pays us for. They don't pay us big money for everybody saying yes. They pay us big money for almost everybody says no. So go find the ones who say yes. That's what we get paid for. So you have to have mastery of your motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be motivated. Most people are motivated by results. So if I ask you and you say no, that determines my motivation. And so I'm a little lower. Then I ask the next person and they say no, and I'm a little lower. And I ask the third person and I'm a little lower. And after 4 or 5 people, I'm out.
Yeah.
If you have mastery of your motivation is not based on your results, it's based on your vision. And so you just keep asking, and you don't pay attention to the results. You pay attention to your vision. But that's a rare thing for people to learn how to master. That's the hard part. And, another way to look at this is like, why is it so hard? Why do most people say no? Because we've chosen as a profession maybe the only thing to sell that all of our prospects, probably everybody has already declared and told everybody that will listen, I'm never, ever, ever going to buy that product.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not your product, but your opportunity. If you go take a clipboard and go ask 100 people, hey, what do you think about joining a network marketing company selling greeting cards? What are they going to say? If they know what a network marketing company is, and if they don't know, you say, like Amway or Herbalife or Nu Skin or Mary Kay, one of those things. What do you think about joining one of those? And we're going to sell greeting cards.
Yeah.
What are they going to say? They're going to say, never. And yet, about 500,000 people a week somewhere around the world end up joining a company.
Sure.
Why? Almost always because they hear a friend's story about a product, try the product, fall in love with the product, and then all of a sudden they kind of get baby stepped into the idea of maybe I tell some people about it because I love it so much. And then all of a sudden they find themselves in that thing they said they would never get in. And by the time they're in at that point, they see it different than they saw it from the outside, which was, from the outside, it's ignorant. It's one of those things where you have to harass all your friends and use your friends to make desperate money. Well, that's a reputation, but that's not the truth. And when you're on the inside and you fall in love with a product and you find the right people and the right tribe and the right company, it's actually a beautiful, fun environment. And if you do the work, not easy, it's simple, but it's not easy. The hard part's up here. You can be very successful.
I agree. So many people have asked me about my microphone and my webcam because I do podcasting and I do video recording all day long with people, primarily on Zoom. And I tell them that I bought the camera on Amazon. Let me send you a link. Now, actually, as an affiliate of Amazon, I can make a little money doing that. But the point is even if it's this pen, Richard, right? And I say, this is a great pen. I'm going to send you one. You're going to just use it for a few weeks and let me know what you think. And you say, my gosh, Jim, this pen, this thing is amazing. Well, how'd you like to share it with your friends? And you can make a few dollars every month, or hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars if you get everyone in the world interested in this great pen. And you're like, yeah, I love this pen. And it's that type of thing, right?
Yeah, I wish I would have filmed an event this morning. So one of my coaching clients sent me their product, which is a product I would never buy and never use. Doesn't appear to me to be a technology that's legitimate or works, although I don't know. Not a scientist. Just not my cup of tea, right? They sent it to me, and, to humor them, I tried it. I didn't really notice anything. But they also maybe wisely sent me a set for my wife, Kimmy. And so she asked me, she said, well, how do I use this stuff? And I said, well, you use it here and like that. So she has this, I won't go into details, but she has this thing that, bothers her and bothered her for like probably a year, and she hasn't found any solution to it. And she put this stuff on her thing. And this morning, after sleeping with it, she said, I wish I would have filmed it. She said, I think this stuff works.
Good.
And if I could have captured that moment, she's not going to sell it because she's in something else, but that's the essence of how this works.
Yeah, it's great. So you're a coach, you coach people. Tell us a little about it.
Well, I built my own network in my 20s. And then I bought a company and built a network marketing company for 30 years and sold it. And for the last 7 years, I've just been a full-time coach, experience retreat leader, online program leader. Like, I lead people through basic 90-day to momentum programs where we work on the mental part of how to get your mind right to be a successful network marketer. And what do you need to do every day for 10 or 15 minutes to be a successful network marketer? So I lead group programs. Some of them are company specific. Some of them are just generic. And I lead programs on transformation based on a book I wrote called Mach 2, which is all about changing your life story and getting your motivation, your mojo right, because you can learn everything you want to learn about network marketing, and you can have a great work ethic and do all the right things. But if you don't have your mojo right, your motivation right, your story right, you're just going to step on yourself and sabotage yourself. So I do a lot of that work with people one-on-one, groups. I also consult to network marketing companies on their strategies, do some speaking, some podcasting like you. I love interviewing people, and I love this format. Mostly I play golf and hike and walk on the beach and go whale watching and play pickleball.
Yeah, you are what I call living the dream. Do you want to tell everybody where you live?
We live on a little private island in Hawaii called Lanai. It's one of the 7 islands. Most people don't know about it. It's about 10 miles off Lahaina, the city that burned in Maui. It's the largest private island in the world, but pretty small. There's only 3,000 people that live here. There's no stoplights, speed limit's 35 miles an hour. There's 20 miles of paved road, 1 gas station, 1 grocery store. It's owned by Larry Ellison, the 97% of the island. All the commercial buildings are owned by Larry Ellison. 60% of the homes are owned by him that he rents to people. We own our own home, but he owns the island. Got 2 Four Seasons resorts, but they only hold 300 tourists, and they're pretty spendy. And so it's just kind of a good paradise. We got really good high-speed internet, great views, wonderful weather, no crime. Politics don't seem to penetrate here somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good life.
Richard,
Good life too.
You know, you're living the dream. I love Hawaii. Climate is perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I had told you before we started the podcast, I got married there 25 years ago at the Four Seasons in Maui. So not very far away. Yep. And it's kind of a special place for my wife and I. And we brought our kids back every 5 years. And Hawaii is quite a gem for the United States to have latched onto, because it's not typical of what we're used to in the United States. And it's just a great place to be. I'm envious.
Yeah, it's special. Anybody can live here. It's just one of those things. It's all mental, right? So
yeah, it's far from the mainland, and it's I keep hearing that Hawaii in general is the most expensive state for people to live in and retire. But I think that's the Hawaiians putting that information out there to keep people away. Because it is getting very populated on many of the islands in Hawaii.
Yeah, but not on our island.
Yeah.
Housing is a challenge. There's not a lot of houses here, but you can rent a house here for $2,500 a month. And one of the interesting things about the ecosystem here is if you're a tradesperson, like an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, a handyman, an auto mechanic, you can make $100 an hour and work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week if you want. There's that much work to do. And hey, anybody can live in paradise. All you need is high-speed internet and either a trade or an online business. And okay, so it's more expensive. So figure out how to make 20% more money and get a paradise.
And maybe
I got to tell you a story, Jim,
Yeah.
before we go. I just want to make sure that your audience hears it. We started this off talking about one of the beautiful things about the networking profession is how people intensive it is, and the exponential growth of how one person can impact another person. And I may have had an opportunity to impact Jordan at that event where he was a participant, and he impacted me by writing Beach Money. But more profoundly, he impacted my wife, who 15 years ago started off as a network marketer, no experience, in Hawaii, in Honolulu, a single mom, in a company where her upline enrolled her, but they were not active builders. She got enrolled in the product. She saw the income option. She wanted to build it. Her sponsor was not active building. Her upline lived on the East Coast.
Oh.
And soon after she enrolled, her upline quit. But before her upline quit, her upline suggested she read Beach Money.
Wow.
And my wife read Beach Money, and she credits Beach Money with her inspiration to, in the next 4 years, build a team in 20 countries, 25,000 people. She was a 7-figure earner her fourth year in the business.
That is phenomenal.
I wrote a book called The 4-Year Career. She wrote a book called The 4-Year Career for Women.
I love it.
That's her.
Beautiful.
Without Jordan Adler, well, Kimmy probably would never be successful in network marketing. I met her at a network marketing event. I'd have never met her. We'd never be married. I wouldn't be living in Hawaii. She'd have never read that book. Tens of thousands of people would not have discovered what they've discovered. And that's just one person who read Beach Money.
That's an amazing story. It's the butterfly effect, right? We hear about this,
totally.
and it goes like that. And it's like, if this didn't happen then, if this person hadn't introduced me to his best friend who had a sister who I married, who we had 20 kids. I mean, it's wild. And that's a fantastic story. I've interviewed many associates and friends of Jordan Adler. This story might be the best story of how a connection has brought so much more to the world. Like I said, the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it reminds me of Steve Jobs' story. I loved reading his story of his life and his career. And what I pulled out of it was about 50 different people that he met in the creation of Apple, that you could diagram out. If he hadn't met that person, then he wouldn't have met that person. And if he hadn't met that person, he wouldn't have met that person. And all the way to the launch of Apple. And any one of those people, there'd be no Apple, perhaps.
Perhaps.
And so if you trace back Jordan, all of his connections that led to the launch of Beach Money, without maybe any of those connections, maybe there'd be no Beach Money.
Yep.
There'd be no Kimmy Merrill. There'd be no Kimmy Merrill as a 7-figure earner in network marketing. There'd be no Kimmy Merrill Brooke.
Wow.
I'd still be living in Idaho, lonely and distant.
Thank you, Jordan. Richard Brooke, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It's awesome, awesome stories. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim.